And I started the aircon. I don't know. Nice to have like a chat with myself or with my imaginary friend. Actually, it's not imaginary, but
I was talking to your imaginary friend before, so we're even.
so oh, good,
At
good.
least you can
And
see him.
that's a good point. And no, everybody, I'm not calling Con imaginary friend. He's a live human being, and you'll see him in just a moment. So, welcome everybody to another Social Cafe, and this is our introduction to our tools series. Hello, Con.
Hey, Deb, how we doing?
Good. Always like
I'm here.
flying at the last minute every time because that's why I love life. It's too busy.
Beats the alternatives.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I think you have a better pace for life, though, Con. You seem to have more balance.
It's called retirement.
It's called what?
Retirement.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to imagine if retirement happens. That always, as a kid, it was like, oh my goodness, 30 is so old. So then 60 is
E-
ancient. No.
Well, I do have my own business, but not having to deal with the man does make a big difference in how one views life.
So it makes it more fun.
More fun, less silliness. I don't have people trying to ship me off to odd places around the world where they're cutting people's heads off.
Ew.
Yeah, I know it was getting a little crazy out there. So yeah, I like it.
Oh my goodness, when you said that, I'm thinking, I don't know, back 60s, 50s, 40s, whatever, like all these stories you hear about South America, all this, but actually that is in our lifetime. I know that's what.
It's
Yeah,
there's a lot of places out there that Americans go to for regular business, but you got to be careful. And at my age, I survived Brooklyn and a few other things, so I'm figuring like why take the risk?
that's true. That's a good point. So back to our topic and
Sorry.
the introduction. Oh no, no, that was not you. I took you there somewhere. I'll take the blame. But so we're talking about like different tools, and I heard some on the Twitter, like they mentioned Buffer app. That's one that's, although I don't know if they want to be called Buffer app or Buffer, but
Hmm.
um,
Well, I
good.
noticed the price sensitivity tonight with many of the folks on the call, myself included. Um, people looking at the free version closely at the freemium versions, and there seemed to be a lot of price sensitivity out there.
I guess that makes sense. I tend to be too addicted, and so I add tools that I probably shouldn't. Okay, hopefully my imaginary friend's not not listening. But yeah, that's a good point. That people, do you think people are generally looking for, when we all want like 100% of them to be free?
Well, I think we would. Now, one of my the pillars of my business has been free or near free, since I work with a lot of small and mid-sized businesses, and I think that particularly at the low end of the scale, small businesses really don't take advantage of everything that's out there before they start throwing money at the tools. And where I'm planning on taking my clients are, let's start with free, let's max those out, and then we can step up into a paid version.
Right, right. That makes sense. And I actually ran into that with Buffer. Buffer, I love you if you're listening, but I was trying to hold off actually paying you money. I'm just gonna say it like it is. But they're attached to Communit, and I love the Communit tool. And I actually got to a point where I was conversing too much, and I was trying not to have like a blast of 60 tweets, different conversations come at once. So you buffer it for
Mhm.
different times, and I hit the max. So I actually had to upgrade that one. But that's what you're saying is people are trying to hold off until they absolutely
Yep.
have to, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people really don't. Yeah, I think that you have to start with the free, simple version of all these tools to step up to the more advanced. Because if you really don't understand how they work at the simple level, you're not going to get it at the more advanced level. Especially a tool like Facebook, which it seems like every time you turn around, there's something else coming out there, either with their ads, their API, their analytics. It takes a while to absorb all that, and a lot of people aren't even, I think, using the basics very well. Or, Facebook, I think, is a great tool for the retail side, the consumer side. B2B, I'm not so sure yet.
Right, right. That's a little bit of a challenge. Takes a little bit more time. From my experience, I don't put a lot of my time into the B2B because I get a better return on others, like
Hmm.
LinkedIn and so forth. That's a good point. I just got an email today, and I hope I don't butcher there. It's WMPU. Did I get that right? They're like a membership site for WordPress plugins, and they sent out a notification that they would no longer be supporting the iOS and the Android. And I thought, oh, that's too bad because they have wonderful plugins that like convert your site to be a mobile app. versus a mobile site. But they said the same thing, like what you're saying with Facebook and all the changes, and they're just like, it's just too much time to keep up with all of the
Mm,
changes.
that's a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
another one. I was just on a chat before I joined Social Cafe. LinkedIn, which is kind of infamous for making changes on the fly, significant changes. And we had a group of LinkedIn gurus all complaining about being literally in the middle of presentations to clients or student groups that they were instructing, and they would have the application just change in front of them, and they're trying to react to it.
That's not funny, but it's funny, and some, I suppose the students loved it.
Well, it's I in my first LinkedIn presentations, I had that where like the night before I'd go in to recheck everything and find out that there were changes. So now whenever I do a LinkedIn presentation, I make sure that that morning I will break everything out and just go through it, and I'll try to check with people I know and the few sites that might give you a heads up. But a lot of the stuff, it's just there.
That's a good idea. Another one that does that is Google. I know this is a Google platform, but Google, you kind of did it to me a couple weeks ago. Not to me personally, but I was actually grandfathered in. So some of what I realized later was I was grandfathered in on technology that probably
Mhm.
Google intended to change. So like everybody that came after me was already using the new technology, but they decided one week, let's do some cleanup and turn all this off. So I'm supposed to be the hangout queen and know all this stuff. And I did what you said, Con, and I checked it. Everything's working. And then it was like 30 minutes before, and there was a change. There's three
Yep.
different changes that week. Unfortunately, it makes for a really good Hangout Queen post to let people know for other people that are kind of grandfathered in. But yeah, I researched that, and there was no notification. I found it out kind of by trial and error. Like, why
Yep.
isn't this working? So
Yeah, and the sad thing with LinkedIn is that they're starting to change the rules of engagement. So, like searches, which people who are looking for jobs depend on, and they're trying to go to a paid version. I like LinkedIn as a tool. I just think the premium version is overrated for most people, and that's
I
what
would
they
agree.
push. And for a person who's lost their job, 25, 27, $30 a month is a lot of money. And I'm not sure you get the advantages out of it. Like I know some people who work in career transition offices for helping people who have lost their jobs, and what they are just outraged at the claims that LinkedIn will give people. They give them this false sense that if you get the premium version, we will guarantee that you will get a reply to every one of your emails that you send in. And they said it's just not true. You might get some sort of like a rote automated reply, but nobody calls up and says, hey, you're a wonderful person. Come on here, let's talk. And they're selling false hope. So LinkedIn is a great tool, but they're moving more and more into the premium version. And now with these commercial use limits they have, people are finding out that they're timing out on searches and they only get the top 5 results, which they brought everybody into LinkedIn, and then for 10 years now, almost 10 years now, they're just slowly taking more and more back and moving into the premium version after they built up the database on everybody's free efforts.
Yeah, that's not real cool. Yeah, I hear you.
No,
I
I think.
tried it.
Sorry.
Oh, the premium one. I think I did it twice for the job seeker, and I was actually curious. The very thing that you're saying, that I'm going to really dedicate some time to this, and I'm going to go like use their free 30 days. Actually, no, I did end up paying them, and every single day I put what I would think. Yes, I can talk. I promise. I would think is a reasonable amount of time on LinkedIn. I mean, it wasn't like 8 hours, but it was between 30 minutes
Mhm.
and an hour, and connect with people and send in-mails. And in-mails, I think that was the hardest part because you don't. It's like you get the unused back, but, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was finding was by the time the in-mail expired, it's that 30-day thing was up, so it ended up that these in-mails that I had, I never benefited. It's nice that it came back.
Yeah.
How do I know if that person, like one of them, I think I was contacting Forbes, one of them I found out that person was no longer at Forbes or they didn't update their LinkedIn or whatever, so I was
Yep.
like, well, how was I supposed to know that? But now I can't use them because my 30 days was up, and so I completely lost the in-mail and had no benefit. And that was the only thing that I saw useful about the membership, really, because I've gotten jobs with free LinkedIn or gigs or different things, connections.
I think the basic free version for anybody who's looking for a job does an awful lot. Plus, if you're willing to put the regular effort into a job search, The book I recommend for everybody is What Color Is Your Parachute? That's a classic that's been out there now for almost 30 years. And if you use all those tools, I think you'll be fine.
Does
I
that
think
work?
if you're,
I'm sorry, you said
yes.
30 years. I'm thinking as far as social media, does that it has
Well,
principles that you can apply?
oh yeah, the book's been updated every year.
Oh, okay.
And it's also been updated for the internet and social media. This was the fellow who created, Bowles was the guy who created the informational interview.
Hmm.
Back in the 70s, I'm dating myself. This was all brand new, and some people who I worked for a long time ago, they're probably dead now, put me onto the book, and it's I've recommended it. I've bought it as gifts for relatives and friends. It's a great book, and you use it with a tool like LinkedIn and the modern tools, and it's fine. You don't have to spend that extra money. And I know I've got a client who's a recruiter, and he's got a premium version, and he's not really sure if it's worth the money.
I
He thinks
didn't
there's other
mind it.
ways to do it.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
mind it to be worth because the little bit that you get above free was like, do I really want to spend? Especially when you compare it to, since our series is about tools, so many of
Hmm.
the tools that we're talking about, they'll range between, I've seen some tools as low as five, 9.99 up to 15 is a pretty average. Some of the beefier tools for the small business are 30. So you're talking about using, like for example, I love Communit. Communit does a lot. It's $30 a month. I realize that's a little pricey, but the return on the investment that I get from Communit for conversations on Twitter is way more than I ever got on LinkedIn. Sorry, LinkedIn.
These tools are, I think they're probably all trying to discover their pricing model, and we're probably going to go through a shakeout over the next few years. And I suspect that free tools are probably going to go the way of the dodo bird. But if we get a more effective pricing mechanism where it's going to be based on volume or something, like if Communit had a version, let's say $10 a month, but then when you hit a certain point, you go up to 20, so be it. Oh, and another watch out with LinkedIn, and although I haven't heard this one for a while, that 30-day trial, a lot of people would sign up for. They have the devil's own time trying to get their account disconnected after 30 days. I met one woman who had to go to the Better Business Bureau in the state of New Jersey to
Are you
get it shut
serious?
down. Uh,
I think
yeah,
mine was
no,
a
I haven't
link.
heard this one. Yeah, I haven't heard this in a while, but when
Okay.
I first started getting actively involved with LinkedIn, people were telling me that, trying to get them to stop charging your account after that first 30 days was kind of difficult. They just didn't really have it. I guess they thought everybody was going to love them so much, they really didn't spend a lot of time thinking about how they were going to disconnect people.
I
So you might
think
want to check your credit card.
I think you're probably right. That sounds like I'm doubting you, Con, and I'm not. But I
No, that's
think
all
at
right.
the beginning, because I've tried this a couple times, I think there was like a call-in. Some of these cancellations, you have to call in, say why you don't like it, blah blah blah. But the other thing too is I do these trial things, not just LinkedIn, other places. So I go on my calendar, and like the 25th day of a 30-day trial, I put cancel this, can like 5 times. I even put it on my husband's calendar, so there's like no doubt that I will miss that. And then in that calendar item, I actually put like I look up the cancellation, so I have the phone number. So that could be why, because of my process, why I
Mm.
didn't experience the same frustration as I had all that
Yeah, again, this is just
unlinked.
anecdotal, but I tell people to be careful.
Right, right. Now I'm going to interrupt our broadcast here to give what I promised. I did send it out by tweet. So if you guys are wondering about the 33% off on Comment Love Premium, you can actually go to Twitter/Social Web Cafe on my tweets, and it should be on that first page because it was one of the last tweets that I sent out. There's some others there as well. I know it's kind of a complicated way to find it, but if you find that tweet, you can follow the link. And it's right now, this isn't intentional. I'm not messing with you guys, I promise, but it is at the bottom of the page, which does make it easy to find because you just scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a link for Comment Love Premium, and there's a coupon code. Now, if you already have the page to get Comment Love, I believe the coupon is Social Cafe. It's kind of like my Social Web Cafe, but it's the hashtag that we use, Social Cafe 33, and that will give you 33% off of the, I think it's $87, so close to 90. So you're getting like $60 for the plugin. And to give you a little bit of a comparison, the single site Comment Love Premium, and disclaimer if I quote this wrong, but the single site, so just one site, is $67. And by the way, the 33% off probably works for that too. And then the unlimited, so if you have like 5 sites, or if you have 40 sites, whatever, as long as they're your sites, you can get the Comment Love unlimited for $87, and now with the discount it's $60. That coupon is good for another week. So you need to use it between this broadcast and the next broadcast to get your 33% off. And then after that in April, well, I'm getting tired of hearing myself talk, but after that in April, I'll have a 25% coupon. So if you missed it, you can still get a significant savings. And Con, I was kind of hoping that Gail would be here because she loves to talk about Comment Love too. Now that I've given all that information and all these money, price points, and people are like, I don't want to spend that much money. Why is it that you need Comment Love?
You brought up on me.
Oh, as far as the why you want Comment Love, I think we talked about that a little bit last week. So if people want to refer to our meeting, like I think Gail talked quite a bit about Comment Love last week on Social Cafe. And she also has a post on growmap.com talking about Comment Love. So if any of you want that, 33% off is pretty good. Social Cafe 33 is your coupon code.
Yep. I don't use it myself, but the folks who I've met who have used Comment Love speak very highly of it.
Yes, even beyond the, and this is something we mentioned last week, even beyond the comment benefits, I use it because it works even better, for me anyway, it works even better than Akismet and some of the other spam control. I mean, I think I mentioned if I turn it off, I start getting like 1,000 comments by the end of the week. If I turn it on, 90% of my comment work is done. So that's, just to control the spam and reclaim some time, to me, that's worth $60 because that's like a lifetime. It's not a monthly thing or anything. You buy it once, you're taken care of on comment spam. So, all right, that's my interruption for interrupting the regularly scheduled broadcast.
That's a good one.
And by the way, we should have I believe we're having a giveaway on Comment Love, so if you don't want to spend the $60 and you want to stay tuned to Social Cafe, I believe that's June 9th that we will be giving away the software.
Good.
Cool. That's like, any mentions of like other tools beyond the Buffer app?
Well, there seems to be a lot of interest in the call on Trello, myself included. I think people are looking forward to the discussion when that comes up in a few weeks. I should probably know the date for that, but it escapes me right now. It's late here on the East Coast.
That's okay. I'm trying to calculate it while you're talking. I'm like, 6/9 is the wrap up, so 6/2 is the 10th, so 5/26.
Sounds good. I think the. I think for folks who are listening, I think making sure that you check the calendar of our tool sessions, it'll be worthwhile. I know I'm looking forward to next week's. I haven't worked with that particular tool yet. Again, something I've heard a lot about, and I'm very interested to see what it's about. And I think these tool series are just a wonderful way to get a chance to meet some of the people who work with the tools, people who are behind the companies, and chance to talk with some folks who use them and compare them as we go along.
Definitely. I'm trying to think if I can say them off the top of my head. I'd hate to try it because I'll get like 9 of them and then forget one. But yeah,
that's why I'm not even going to try.
Next week we have Map Social with Matthew Holden, and in fact he just posted a whole transcript. I interviewed him for Web Tools TV. And so he posted, I think I tweeted that not too long ago. That's funny, I'm sitting here. I think I tweeted it, I don't know. No, it really was me, I promise. But there's a feature where they have the whole transcript. So he's the one that's joining us next week. Very delightful, very helpful, very informational, very intelligent, very academic. Let's see, I'm missing the word that I'm looking for there, but a great interview.
Sounds like he's going to show us up.
Yeah, I think he might. All of these people, fortunately, I believe without exception, I've interviewed all of them or will have interviewed all of them on Web Tools TV before they join us, so that really helps.
Excellent. Good.
There might be 2 exceptions, and that's Ann Smarty and Charles Terrence Harper, but Charles is my co-host in Marketing Momentum, so I may not have interviewed him for it, but I definitely talk to him every week.
He's been around a while.
And Ann Smarty, I think you all know who Ann Smarty is, SEO Smarty on Twitter. I worked with her in my blog guest before that had, let's say, less exposure on the internet. I'm trying to find a good way. And she's coming to talk to us about My Blog You. So that's her.
Good. Excellent.
So let's see. Good. We also have Ninja Outreach. We have Michael Chang from Snipply. Oh, I just, I know it was in my head. Now, of course, I put myself on the spot, and I'm trying. We said Trello already. Charles Harper is talking about Fusion Pro, which I just purchased last night, and it's not a Hangout, but it is a very oh my goodness, it is loaded with features for webinars, and it's built by
Very
people
good.
to do webinars. So they're going to show up GoToWebinar. I've been in both
Good.
user interfaces, and Fusion Pro is definitely
Good.
that's a good one. And I'm talking too much. Now it's your turn, Con.
Well, no, I think for the kickoff tonight, we had folks. I think there was a lot of genuine interest out there on the part of everybody about the tools coming forward. I'm interested to see people's comments going forward on the price point for the tools that we just mentioned right now, or rather you just mentioned. All very good. Some get a little pricey for some folks. I think it's really going to depend on where their business model is right now. In my particular case, I'm still in the startup mode, so I'm reluctant to start putting too much money into tools until I start getting the revenue flow coming in on the other end, which I expect to be happening this year. I think the other. I try. I try. Remember, retirement equals fixed income. So I think that the session is going to be good for many people. I know that we're all reaching out to our various communities and followers, and anybody who's listening here, I'd encourage them to pass out the schedule and get people to join, because I think it's going to be a very informative 10 weeks with the tools. I think it's going to be interesting to be able to do some comparisons with some of these tools as we go through the first couple of weeks. It's not always necessarily an apples to apples comparison for some of the tools, but I think it'll give people a lot of ideas of what's out there. I know myself in the last couple of months I've learned a lot about what's out there. I'm also learning that there's a lot of alternatives. You've got your pricier tools, you've got your less expensive ones, and if you're willing to make the trade-off, the tools are they'll work for you. I come from a corporate background where, the idea of spending $30-40 a month, people would just say, like, why are you bothering me? Kid, go away and, just do it. But for smaller businesses, you're talking about a small medical practice, doctor's office, tax preparer, they look at these monies very closely, and then the value that they get out of it has to be measured. So I think that these tool discussions are going to be relevant, I know, for myself and my clients, and I think for all the other participants who join.
That's a really good point. And I was thinking as you're talking that, I try to look for free tools. I shouldn't say I'm sorry, the Social Cafe team, as we're identifying tools, we try to find free tools. But even with that, we'll find some that have, you can do 2 things, but then you can do 40 things with the $5 version or whatever. So if we had to limit ourselves to only doing free tools, then we would have a very short list.
Oh, I know, and honestly, many of these tools, I even, broke down and, went for the premium version of Feedly. They had a Black Friday coupon around Thanksgiving, which I took advantage of. I want to go with Evernote. I'm looking at Hootsuite, but after listening to Gail talk a couple of weeks ago, I want to go take a look at October Post and see if there's, what the value is on those tools. I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to do a lot more tweets, and being able to do a mass upload from an Excel spreadsheet is a lot easier than just sitting there and banging away on the keyboard, doing them one at a time. So especially when I start working with clients, having that ability is going to be useful. So, but as I said earlier, the free version is an opportunity to learn the tool, max it out, and then when you get to that point where you've maxed it out, you can say, okay, I'm ready and I understand why I need to go to the premium version, or look at a competitor's product and say, what's best here for the money.
Very, very true. And I think that's where this tool series is really going to help. I mean, there's only 10 tools, but we're looking at our tool series 2 and lining up people. And you're right, Con, as far as the comparative aspect, because it's not just about money. It's what it does. For example, Social Oomph. I just signed up for their premium, and they have 2 different premium. They have the get access to everything premium, and then they have the Twitter only, and I only needed the Twitter. But you have to look at what you do with the tool. And I love Hootsuite. I have Hootsuite, but I'm only paying $5.99. That kind of gives you a clue how long I've been with Hootsuite, why the price is so low. And I love that Hootsuite allows you to upload a spreadsheet, and that's how I did my quotes all the time. I had this, spreadsheet of like 200 quotes. You couldn't upload 200, but I could periodically upload the quotes to automatically tweet out. But Hootsuite's only recently added the image feature. Before that, there was no images, so I went to Social Oomph. Well, the other thing to look at your own patterns, and that's where this tool series really helps because we can talk about all these things. Social Oomph not only allows images, but I can load my reservoirs, so I can put in the same tweet more than once, but just space it out, whereas Hootsuite will say, oh, wait, you already tweeted that. And that's a limiting thing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I'm concerned about for some of these tools is their performance. Like, I was using Hootsuite for several months, very satisfied with it, and then the week before I was supposed to lead a Twitter chat myself, it just backed up on me. I think you may remember that evening where I was kind of like, in a panic because I was falling behind on all my Twitter chats, and somebody recommended I go to TweetDeck. And TweetDeck's been working great for me when I'm on chats. I feel more comfortable there. I feel safer. Whereas with Hootsuite, it works for a lot of things, but I'm worried that when I'm in a dynamic environment like a chat, I can't afford to wait 3 or 4 minutes for replies to come back. And I'm also noticing that sometimes the replies come out of sequence. I was getting answers to questions before the question was posted on my stream. So I'm thinking, okay, this is not good. So I'm looking for reliability.
I highly recommend TweetDeck for Twitter chats, and that's not necessarily a popular answer because so many people are using the tweetchat.com. I love twubs.com, but they had the same thing as what you're describing, that delay, which the same thing that you're describing you had with Hootsuite, I've had with all the other Twitter clients. And we had a discussion on this in Social Cafe like at the end of 2014, but it makes sense that TweetDeck works because TweetDeck is Twitter. It's Twitter's product, so you're not dealing with any API calls there, so it might be clunky compared to, say, Twubs or all these really cool tools that filter, but if you're leading a Twitter chat, at least have TweetDeck open on one of your tabs so that you can fall back.
Yeah, no, I use, for all the Twitter chats now, including Social Cafe, I use TweetDeck. I'll have Hootsuite in the background for other things that I look at, but I just, if I'm going to be in a leadership role on a chat, I can't afford to, be a few minutes behind everybody else.
That explains why
hard enough time in real time.
Oh, that's funny. I came in to support you on that chat, the LinkedIn. I'm like, that's funny. Han usually responds really quickly in Social Cafe. Why isn't he responding? And then 5 minutes later, I got your response. It's like, okay, he's stressed. It's not personal.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No. So it's the reliability factor too, as well as the cost. Something may be cheaper, but if you can't rely on it, then you can't go with it. Sometimes a batch environment is all you need, but when you need real time, you can't afford to have a batch environment.
That makes a lot of sense.
Again, I'm dating myself.
Yeah, I have to think back. Okay, I actually know what that is, so I don't know if that. That's because I do a lot of reading.
Yeah, when was the last time I ever mentioned batch on one of these talks?
Actually, I do. It does come up a little bit, but that's because my degree is in programming, so it would come up as far as processing and so forth. But yeah, that.
By the way, congratulations on completing your master's degree.
Well, thank you. Did I actually advertise that somewhere? But yeah, I did. Yay!
Yeah, you did. You sent a message out. I just wanted to in real time say congratulations.
I must have been half asleep. No, I did, but thank you so much. I appreciate the congratulations. So now I'm a psychology expert. I'm not a psychologist yet. That's the next phase. But unless you're this is interesting, in Great Britain, you can get a master's and you're a psychologist. But in the U.S., that's not until you get the doctorate. So that's interesting.
Britain has lower requirements for a lot of things. Like I was lying in a dentist chair when he explained to me that you don't become a doctor to become a dentist in Britain. Fortunately, my guy came from Australia and he went through the University of Chicago dental school. But you got to be careful over there with your professionals.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I had a question for you on the tools. I'm trying to. Oh, the other part of the reliable, you can be forgiven for a glitch if you have good support. So I think that's the key. Is you either need to have a very reliable, never fails tool, and your support can be kind of iffy, which I wouldn't recommend. Or better yet, let's hit at least the 80% on both. Then maybe you'll survive.
Well, no, that's very true. Some of these tools that I've worked with, I have had occasion to use Hootsuite's help desk support, and I found it to be very good. But
Excellent.
what the issue I have with them is their system performance sometime, which, the best help desk in the world isn't going to help you if they're running slow. They can't make the mice run any faster on the wheel. But yeah, Hootsuite does have very good customer service. I will say that. But I worry about. I know I'm picking on them tonight, but I worry about any of these tools where you have to rely on a reasonable response time once you hit the enter key.
Oh, as far as the only thing is, I'm going to play devil's advocate and defend Hootsuite. I wouldn't say it's a Hootsuite issue. I would say it's anyone that connects to Twitter that's not Twitter itself, as far as the API.
Fair enough.
So that is something you're going to run. Even Buffer, like what was it last night? I tweeted something in Social Oomph and I said, okay, send it out now. And granted, it was like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm not real patient at 3:30 in the morning, so it's like, why isn't it there? Why isn't it there? 15 minutes later, it's still not there. And I ended up just tweeting it directly in Twitter, and it turns out it showed up like 45 minutes later. Maybe that's in the fine print in Social Oomph, and maybe now means it's going, the next train that comes by.
Oh, I'm sure it's in the fine print someplace, yes. But this is something all these companies and Twitter themselves have to think about. I know Twitter likes to talk about the open API, but if anybody who plugs into them finds out that they run into these delays, it could really kill the golden goose here.
That gets me thinking a whole nother direction, but I'm not going to go there. I didn't realize this. I remember looking at the clock at 48 and thought, wow, we have 12 minutes to talk about this. We are 7:01. So thank you all for joining and watching us as we banter about the Tools series. And next week we're going to start with Matthew Holden and Mav Social. The following week is Dave Schneider and Ninja Outreach. We have giveaways planned, so you will definitely want to watch because I have a giveaway coming up on the Mav Social one, and that's a short period of time, so you have a better chance to win. So watch the Social Cafe hashtag, and I will tweet that out so that you can enter and win. In the meantime, we will see you same place, same time next week on Social Cafe. Thanks.
Take care, all. Thanks again. Be good. Bye.